Hello, everyone. I am just getting set up, getting started. Good morning. I'm Sarah of the Sisters Enchanted. If you're new to these parts, just making sure that we are going live in all the right places and that everything is working. So hello, everyone joining me in the comments so far. Let me just keep checking to make sure we are where we're supposed to be. And if we're not, I need to fix that. So let's see here. Good morning. Oh yeah, I don't see, it doesn't look like we are doing what we are supposed to be doing here. Good morning. I'm trying to get us to go live on Facebook also. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go live from my phone. So give me 1 second to just see if I can fix it from here. If not, then we're just going to power up the phone. So hello, everyone. Yeah, I don't see it. It's not working. It's not working. Oh, you know what? Maybe though. No, just making sure I didn't go live on the wrong page, which is always a possibility. Doesn't look like it. Let's check this one. Nope, nope, nope. Check one more place here. Stinking technology. Mercury's still in retrograde, you know. So good morning, everyone. We're still 2 minutes early, and I'm just trying to get us situated, and it does not look like it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we are going to, let me see, I don't think I can edit it while I am in the session. No, that didn't work. All right. I think that it's just going to have to, I'm just going to have to go live from my phone. So let me get that set up and then we will start the class. It's too bad that people on Facebook aren't going to be able to see the slides that I have. So while we just wait till it's right at 10 o'clock. Hi, Christina. Oh, where did I go? I was trying to fix the video. I have it set up that's supposed to be live streaming to Facebook also, but it's not, it doesn't appear to be doing that. So I was just making sure that I'm not, going crazy, but I don't see it anywhere. I don't know, like Christina or Patty or somebody who is familiar with us, if you guys can see it, but I don't think that I think it's just not working. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. I have no place to put my phone. We'll have to prop it up over, oh my goodness. I'm not prepared for it not to work, you guys. Let's see. I don't want to have to hold it the whole time. Let me see what I can do. Nope, that's not going to work either. All right, well, let's get started on here. And then live video. Hi, Alicia. Good morning, Randy. We are just trying to make sure that we are in the right place and the technology is not working like it's supposed to. So I'm getting us set up over here also. You are not live on Facebook, Christina says. Yeah, what the heck? Magic Week, day 1. All right, so I'm going to get us here and then we'll dive in. So hello, everybody on Facebook and to everybody here on our Crowdcast stream. I got to figure out a way to hold my phone up so I don't have to hold it the whole time. Thank you for your patience, you guys. I think if I lower this down, sorry, hopefully tomorrow everything works like it's supposed to. That's not working either. Okay, hold on, guys. We're going for a wild ride right now. Hello, everybody on Facebook. I see a few of you joining me here. Hi, Sarah Flores. All right. There, that's going to work, I think. And on Crowdcast, no, now on Facebook, I'm going to have to cut off. There we go. Okay, so we're on Facebook, and we are here, and let me just share it, and then we are officially good to go. So welcome to day 1 of Magic Week. Yes, this is just not going well. Hi, Angie on Facebook. Those of you watching on Facebook and those of you here on Crowdcast, my technology is not doing what I wanted to do. And so I am now quickly trying to get, hi Sarah, I am now quickly trying to get all of the technology sorted and put us where we need to go, and it's just not working for me. Of course, that's how it works, right? When you think you got everything ready, and then life happens and nothing is ready. Okay, so I think I'm good-ish now. Oh, Patricia says I'm live on YouTube. So YouTube's working, and it's just Facebook messing with me today. Perfect. So hello, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Sarah, head magic maker here at the Sisters Enchanted. For those of you that are new to these parts and don't know who we are kicking off Magic Week. So Magic Week starts today. We have a live class today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I am hoping on Friday you get to meet my sister, the co-founder of the Sisters Enchanted. Thanks, Carrie. Anna, I'm hoping she can join us Friday. Maybe tomorrow I will wrangle Nick, who is our astrologer, and we'll see who I can bring aboard with me. Yeah, everyone on Facebook is like, oh, it's fine, you're fine, Sarah. So thank you guys. All right, so Magic Week, we are kicking off today by talking about the moon. Each day we are going to talk about something new and exciting, the moon, chakras, tarot, everyday magic, and I think that we're going to change up our schedule a little bit too to talk about some cool storytelling stuff. So if you're on Facebook, you aren't going to be able to see what I'm sharing on the screen, unfortunately, because the technology isn't working on my side today. But if you want to jump over to YouTube, I hear that I'm streaming live on YouTube, or if you check your email, you can probably find the link to the video where you can actually watch live. So, you know, you can do that too. All right, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen, and we will talk about what we are here to talk about. We are sharing our screen, and we are going to view our presentation. All right, so if you're on Crowdcast right now watching, I'm going to circle back through on and off to check into your comments because I can't see them while I'm talking. But if you're here on Facebook, you're missing the screen, but I can see your comments. So like I said, it's Magic Week. Today we're talking about the lunar phases. So in your email, you have a printable document also that lines out the lunar phases with some sort of prompts. So we're going to talk about those today so you know how to use them. But first, who are we here at the Sisters Enchanted? From left to right, and again, you on Facebook. Anna, she is my real life sister, the co-founder of the Sisters Enchanted. Myself, Sarah, Nick, he is our head astrology. And then over on the right, you see Danielle, who is one of our behind the scenes people who works here with us in Connecticut. That's where we are located. We actually have a physical location where we're going to teach classes in person opening up soon. So in May, we should have that rocking and rolling. And let's see, pause. I just switched to Facebook from YouTube to see if you see messages here. Yeah, I see messages here. I'm not following my YouTube video right now. And then we have Nikki, who is our behind the scenes person that you see online all the time. Nikki's in all of our groups. You can find her kind of pitch hitting everywhere. So Nikki's a really good person to get in contact with if you're not sure what's happening ever here at the Sisters Enchanted. We started the Sisters Enchanted in May 2016 in the way that we know it now. And so we're inching up on our 3-year anniversary, which we will actually be celebrating we have an event in Salem, Massachusetts in May where a bunch of Enchanted sisters from around the US. I don't think we have any, we do, and Canada, US and Canada coming in May. And we're going to celebrate our birthday while we're there. So happy birthday to us coming up. So that is who we are. We teach a really cool program called An Enchanted Journey, which is we do different topics each quarter. We are wrapping up our Heal Like a Witch topic right now, and we are moving into the triple deity and mythology and folklore, which is our next unit. I have a program called the Society of Business Witchery where I help people build their magical businesses, a program called Holistic Witchery, and we also teach a class called Expedition Astrology. That's what we do. And I think that on Crowdcast, you guys might be able to see this video. Let's see. And on Facebook, you're going to miss it. but it is our, you guys can hear it probably. This is our video where we kind of explain our community. So we'll see.
Magic Maker. I'm Anna, co-founder, mythology nerd, and tarot enthusiast at the Sisters Enchanted. Hey there, I'm Sarah, head magic maker and founder at the Sisters Enchanted.
All right, so that is some of our community members. This little video does go on, and then we talk a little bit about who we are, but I'm already telling you about who we are, so I don't think we need to watch the whole video. Let me just head back over to Crowdcast and see if there's any questions, anything going on here. Let's see, okay, hello everyone. All right. So yeah, at the Sisters Enchanted, it's our mission to make magic mainstream and also help women all around the world conjure joy in their lives through a little bit of everyday magic. And in that video, what you saw is some of our community members who have been with us. Those are all women that are in our Enchanted Journey group. But we have so many women that have been with us. We've had over 25,000 people come through our free classes, which is super exciting. We're inching up on the 30,000 mark, which is crazy to say. But it feels really cool to bring people together. And we've had the pleasure to meet lots of people in real life here in Connecticut, also in our Salem trip. And we look forward to meeting some more of you one day. So yeah, let me just see, there is a question, and then we'll talk about the moon. Let's see. Okay, cool. All right, let me share this again, and let's get into officially Magic Week. And again, if you're on Crowdcast, I'm going to flip back and forth to see your questions, so I won't answer them quite in real time. All right. So that's who we are. Exciting stuff. Okay, so what to do with this information after you watch this video with us. Firstly, take what works for you and leave what doesn't. So one thing that really drives me crazy in anything is the idea that everything is one size fits all. So I have a background in teaching. It's what I went to school for. And I specialized in kids who learn differently. And what I learned in that I apply to our work here at the Sisters Enchanted is that not everything makes sense for every person. So particularly in a spiritual life. So if I say something to you and you're like, that really does not make sense for me, then figure out how it makes sense for you and use it that way. Remember that at the end of the day, there are no rules when it comes to magic making, living a magical life, and everyday magic. You can really, again, like set your intentions for the best possible things and do what works for you. Create your own magical notes pages with this information. So in your email, there is a printable page, but it's really cool to kind of take this and then, like, this is such a weird word, but regurgitate it or write it back out in words that make sense to you in your own language. And that will help you to not only absorb it, but use it in a way that feels really good and start to incorporate it into your everyday life. And then since we're talking about the moon today, start to work with tracking lunar cycles. So if you don't already track lunar cycles, I totally recommend you get on it. It is another thing to do, which I know we're all really busy people. We don't need another thing to do. But if you make it a habit, or like set times maybe every Sunday where you kind of reflect on the week. You can do this in a couple different ways, like daily tracking or weekly, and we're going to talk about this as we move along. But tracking lunar cycles and learning how you react to, or how you sort of ebb and flow with the ebb and flow of the moon can really change your life in a lot of ways, which is why I love working with the moon. We hear about it now in sort of, it's like a trend to manifest with the moon, right? And follow the lunar cycles for manifestation. But it also is, a really like sort of holistic way of looking at yourself, what your needs are at different times of a lunar cycle, and those around you. So family members, whoever you live with, and you can even find that you'll bring some more peace to your home and love and joy and happiness, because you might start to realize like, oh, this person that I live with is like totally insane over these 4 days every month, or I'm totally insane on these 4 days. And so we're just going to not argue on those days. I know for myself that around the new moon, I am just going to be exhausted. I'm going to be crabby, and yeah, and it's just not a good time. And then if you are a female watching this, or you have yourself your own hormonal monthly cycle going on, and even if you don't have a hormonal monthly cycle in the female way, where we're shedding every month and we're having all these things happen, you can really see how that either lines up for you or how it might not. So for me, no matter what is going on in my body, I feel tired and crabby at the new moon, no matter what. So I learned that through lunar cycle. So lunar cycle tracking. So get into that if you're not already, and simply enjoy all this information and working with the moon. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of background here on working with lunar phases. Like I said, it's pretty popular right now to talk about manifesting with the moon, but it's not really new information. So this idea of manifesting with the moon, this is new. Like we have sort of taken this idea of manifestation and turning from more of a masculine sort of society to a feminine one, and we have like put a new spin on working with the moon. And this has been happening for a while, since the rise of new age sort of belief systems and spirituality and religion. But this comes from the old idea of people time tracking by lunar cycles, planting by lunar cycles. We would know, before we had the Gregorian calendar, before we had our time tracking systems, this is how we knew that women had a cycle. This is how we knew that it took a certain period of time for animals to gestate babies and women. Is that the right word, gestate? I think it is. But we knew this through tracking lunar cycles, and we knew that planting at certain times would be helpful, harvesting at certain times. And so when we are looking at this idea of manifesting with the moon with our life, we're following similar ideas here. We're planting ideas at certain times. We're harvesting ideas at certain times. And we are birthing ideas at certain times and growing ideas at certain times. So we're taking sort of this old information and looking at it in our new modern light. This idea of yin and yang energy, passive times, active times, which we're going to talk about more, that's not new. But we're kind of taking what once was and applying it to our modern life. So it's really a good, old meets new situation here. All right, so we're going to talk about the dark moon, the new moon, the waxing phases, the full moon, and the waning phases. So on your printout, there is not a place there for the dark moon. The reason for that is not everybody follows the dark moon as a phase. So the dark moon is, you'll see that kind of mentioned more in witchcraft practices, which if you're new here and that totally freaked you out, the word witchcraft, we are open and affirming to people of all walks of life and belief systems. We like to say, as long as you're nice to other people. And so with the rise of Wicca in the 50s through the 70s, the dark moon kind of comes from that. And some people work with the dark moon, some don't. If you're coming from an astrological background, then the dark moon isn't typically something that's talked about. So that's why it's not on your paper, because we're going on your paper or like the standard ones that everybody acknowledges. But I'll tell you about the dark moon also. I think, do I have that on there? No. So we're going to talk about the dark moon right now. So the dark moon, if you're coming from a witchy sort of magical everyday magic background, the dark moon is the exact time of the new moon. So if you look at when we say, for example, the new moon is, what is it? It's April 5th, I think. It's next Friday, I believe. So we're going to have a new moon in Aries, right? The sun's in Aries. The new moon is always in the sign that the sun is in. So the new moon is going to be in Aries. But if you're practicing the dark moon, that astrological day of the new moon would technically, if you're a dark moon follower, be the dark moon. It's the day and it's that moment when we look in the sky and the moon is at its darkest. So even with a telescope, you know, like we are not seeing the moon. It is dark. And it's said that at that dark moon phase, that exact day of the new moon, is just a day of quiet. Like it's not a day to manifest. It's not a day to release. It's not a day to like think on your dreams. It's just a like sort of flatline, go within day, like just be here and receive, which is different because what you'll see on social media and in a lot of astrological forecasts, you'll see the new moon, right, as that same day. And you'll see that that's the day for intention setting. So there's neither of these are wrong. Neither of them are incorrect. They're just two sort of different ways of looking at it. And here at the Sisters Enchanted, we do, to be honest, like kind of toggle between them. So some months we're like, oh, the dark moon. Some months we're like, oh, the new moon. And it's because here we also have a blend of belief systems going on. And that's why we kind of toggle between them. So the new moon then would technically be the next day after the new moon, when there's that sliver of light and the moon is new. It's like new, it's starting to show again, right? And that would be the new moon. So depending what sort of practice you follow, that might be a little bit different for you. So that's the difference there. Let me just check in if we have any questions over here. Let's see. Teresa says, it'll be useful once that cycle is back. And then once it came back for my son, it's so much more energy. Yeah, I actually found lunar tracking to be really useful. I have two small kids. I have an almost 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I am a extended breastfeeder. So I had my cycle very little in the last few years. But I still found it really helpful to track lunar cycles because that's how I knew that I was going to be really a crankpot every new moon. And now that I do have a cycle regularly again, I still know that no matter what, I am very cranky at the new moon. So Alicia is asking, is the dark moon the same as void of course? No, that is different. So void of course moon is the time when it's switching, hey Anna, the void of course moon is when the moon is in between signs. So when it's doing its pass through to get to a new sign. And actually the void of course moon is a whole other topic. So I'm going to try to make it really quick. The void of course moon, that's said to be a good time to sort of do things. Well, not do things. Like if you want something to stick during the void of course, say for example, you wanted to, I don't know, say something horrible to your boss, right? But like didn't want to reap the consequences. Like you would say that during a void of course, because it's said that during void of course, things don't stick. Like we don't, we let things roll off. And who is it? There's a president, and I can't, Anna, maybe, I don't know. So somebody here knows, I know, that there is a past president of the US who used an astrologer, and it said that he made all of his major like negative announcements during void of course moons because people don't like stick to emotion during it. So if you wanted to do a spell to manifest, or like if you wanted to do intention setting to manifest money or something, you wouldn't want to do it during a void of course moon because nothing sticks during a void of course moon, is what the belief is. So now dark moon is different. Yeah, breastfeeders unite. Let's see here. Alicia says, can I use dark moon to meditate and reflect? You totally could. Some people, yeah, it's like just a time to listen to yourself. And let's see here, Lisa, there are lunar tracking apps. I don't use any. I use paper and pencils, or paper and pen. So yeah, you'd have to check that out. Let's see here. Stephanie's asking, how can I get a natal chart that I can actually understand? Well, you can find a free one online. They're hard to understand if you don't know, you know. Let's see here. So let me go back to our presentation and we'll get back on track. Oh, I gotta share the screen. Okay, what am I doing? Present. Okay, so that's the difference between the dark moon and the new moon. So the new moon, whether you look at it as that astrological day of the new moon that everybody talks about, or the next day, that little sliver in the sky, the new moon is an active energy time, even though the moon is new, it's dark, it's not there, you can't see it. It is an active energy time. And it's, you think about when we look at a lunar cycle, we have the waxing half, which is when the moon is growing. The full moon is at its fullest, and then the waning is when it's coming back down again. So if we think of the cycle of birth and there is something gestating, and everything gets bigger, right? And then at its fullest, it births, and then it gets smaller again. But at the new moon is that seed planting time. So we think about humans and animals and living creatures. What happens when seeds are planted? That is an action time. We don't sit around passively. That is an action time. So we are seeing that the new moon. It's an active energy. And it is where you set your intention. What is your intention for the lunar cycle? So an intention is different from a goal. Goals are very solar. They're very masculine. They are very Gregorian calendar oriented, and goals are amazing. I love goals. I set goals all the time. And I think that you need goals in order to really do things you want to do, right? But an intention is sort of a smaller bit of that. It's kind of how you intend to maybe live that or feel that. So if a goal is to, maybe you have a goal to like sell your house, or you have a goal to lose X amount of pounds, or exercise X amount of hours, drink X amount of water, maybe that's a goal. So your intention, how does your life intend to change as a result of this? Is your intention to feel healthier in your skin? Is your intention to live in a house that feels like home to you, and that's why you need to sell your house? I'm a business owner, so a goal for me might be to make X amount of dollars or something like that. But what is my intention with that? My intention is to maybe feel comfortable in being able to pay the 4 other people in our office rent. Like, I feel comfortable in doing that. I don't feel stressful. Like, my intention is to feel comfortable when writing out a check, right? That would be my intention, to feel comfortable and confident. So that's different from my goal, though. So a lunar cycle is about an intention, and it's a small thing. You don't want it to be a really big thing. It's only like, 29 day time period. It's not very long. And so we don't want this like giant thing happening. And it can work in tandem with a solar goal. So your intention is this kind of way you want to feel. And at this new moon is when you actively talk about that intention. So you talk about it, you see it, you meditate on it, you draw it, you write about it like it already happened. You write your life story, like what's it going to look like 5 years from now after this intention has come into being. You make a board about it. You do all the things. You take action on seeing it. Like you see it as much as possible. And if you're really working hard with the lunar cycles to manifest something, you're going to want to put like sticky notes about this thing. You're going to want to put stuff everywhere. And this is that action time when you're like, yes, I'm going to make this happen. I feel this in my soul, even though I don't feel it yet. I'm going to feel it and I know it. And we make it so we don't forget about it. That's what we do at the new moon. The waxing crescent moon is this period between the new moon and the first quarter moon, when the moon's half full in the sky. And each phase is like a 3 to 4 day situation. There's no real science to that. But it's like it is definitely a phase. So at the waxing crescent moon, once we've moved out of this sort of new moon time period, these 3 days, at the waxing crescent, we sort of want to lay off the gas a little bit. So we know our intention, we saw it. And now for a few days, we're going to spend more time seeing it. We're going to really visualize it into being. We're going to meditate on that. Maybe if you're a meditator, if you're a journaler, you're going to journal on it. If you're a person that loves to run, like when you're running, you're going to be like, oh yes, I feel so comfortable writing that big fat check to the IRS. It feels great because I know I have the money. I feel so comfortable in my own skin. I feel so hydrated. Like I feel so comfortable in my home. I have a home I love. So whatever your thing is during this moon phase, this waxing crescent period, we're not totally doing all the things. We're just really seeing it. We're feeling it. We're trying it on. We're putting on the suit of this thing that we want to have being. So when I talk about action phases versus non-action or passive phases here, yin versus yang. In our passive phases, it doesn't mean we're not doing anything. So if your goal is to sell your house, if that's your goal, and your intention is to feel comfortable in your home, and that's why you want to sell your house to get a new home, right? And then in the waxing crescent phase, if somebody like puts an offer on your house, this doesn't mean don't take action. Like, oh no, it's the wrong moon phase, I'm not going to take action. No, you freaking take that action and you sell that house. But in terms of like how we're energetically aligning ourselves, you know, this is sort of what we're doing emotionally, spiritually, like mentally on the inside to make all this stuff happen. And your moon is your internal stuff. It's not external stuff. It's all inside stuff. All right, so we have our new moon, we have our waxing crescent moon, we've set an intention, now we're like seeing it come into being, we're really like, oh, this is exciting, I know it's gonna be great. Then we have our first quarter moon. So our first quarter moon is when the moon is half full in the sky, and we're halfway to that full moon mark. It's about 1 week into the lunar cycle, and this again is an action time. So now we are taking action, and this is the time of the lunar cycle when it's really most like best suited to take action. It's very solar sort of. Your comment. I see all your comments. Thank you for it. Shirt is from a company that no longer exists, Gypsy Warrior. Yes, Moldavite does ring to Voldemort. I can see how you would think that. Those of you on Facebook. Okay, so the first quarter moon phase, it is a pretty solar phase. Like if we're going to look at things that are solar in nature here, this is your action time. It is the time to be like, all right, I set my intention. I thought about what it's going to be like. I felt it. I tried it on. And now I'm taking action on this intention. So if your intention is to be happy to go to work every day, or like you feel joy, maybe your intention is, I feel joyful in my workplace. And part of that might be getting a new job for you. So this would be a really great time, the first quarter moon, to do some internal work around like being confident. You know, I am confident interviewing for jobs. I am fully capable of having this job. I'm fully capable of being a manager and not being an associate. I'm very fully capable of getting a promotion. And then take actual action by doing things like applying for promotions, applying for jobs. So we're doing the internal work, but then we're also taking external action, which is very solar, but this is a great phase to line that stuff up. And it's really still, this whole waxing part is really just about feeling what you want to have happen and doing the work to line your feelings and emotions and inner self, your moon self, up with the external stuff. So if your intention here was to, you know, sell that house, but maybe you didn't have the confidence to like, or maybe you were still energetically attached to the stuff in your home. Maybe a realtor was like, you need to clear everything out. You need to paint all the rooms one color or whatever. But you're like, oh, I'm so emotionally attached and I just can't do it. This is this time to like get yourself prepared. And maybe this lunar cycle is not the time to do the action, but it's really about setting the intention to like release the attachment, or to set the intention to feel confident to take the step, or whatever you need to do. So it doesn't always have to be that you're doing something. It can be that we're preparing ourselves to do something. All right, so that's our first quarter moon. Next, we have our waxing gibbous moon. So this is when we are very close to the full moon. It's about halfway between that first quarter moon and the full moon. The moon is almost full in the sky. We're very large. The moon is very large, and we're trusting. We are trusting now that exactly what's supposed to happen is happening. And this is a passive time. When we trust that the right things are happening, we are not taking action, we're just being passive. And we're like, there's a lesson to be learned here. Things don't appear to be going the way that you want them to. If things are going amazing, you trust that more of that is to come and that you're on the right path. But again, we're still feeling. This whole first half of the lunar cycle is really about feeling your intention and everything that comes with it, so that at the full moon, when the moon is its fullest, we will have 2 weeks of sort of feeling around this, and we'll know what to do at the full moon. Before I get to the full moon, I'm going to check back in my comments over here on my computer. So anybody who joined late on Facebook, I was having some tech trouble, and you're not all in one place. So let me check back through comments here on the computer real quick. Let's see here. Teresa says, goals define me. I need to set a goal to actually finish a goal. Bam, 2 goals finished at once. Yes, achieving goals can be difficult, but working with the lunar cycles and lunar phases can really help you to see where things are happening that are keeping you from achieving those solar goals. So let's see here. Chelsea previously felt stressed out about the idea of making goals every 28 days plus every other significant event. Yes, no. I like to have I set a goal. Usually I'll set like a solar goal. And so typically, I am a business owner, so my goals typically rely around business and some business owner. But I'll try to set like a family goal too, like that we're going to do something as a family. We're going to finish a house project. That like my kids will go to sleep by themselves. Like that's a goal. But these intentions I look at in smaller chunks, like small pieces, and then I can see kind of the building blocks to them. So Rhea says, so new moon is internal and envisioning, and first quarter moon is more external actions. Yeah, so it is still internal because your action, anything with the moon is your inside. So in a natal chart, which is not what we're talking about here, it's a whole other thing, but it's your inner sort of more subconscious self. We like to say here that it's kind of how you react under pressure, like when you're backed into a corner, it's your most primal self that's going to be like, and come out. And that's kind of your moon self. So your moon is this internal stuff. And so at that first quarter moon, totally take external action, but also take any internal actions you need to take. If you're finding a lot of resistance to whatever goal that you're trying to achieve you're like, I can't do these goals. I can't do it, man. Then that is a time to take action on that resistance and say, I am worthy of this goal. I'm worthy of taking the freaking 15 minutes a day it's going to take me to walk around the block to feel healthier. I'm worthy of this. And that can be your action also. This internal stuff can very much be your action. Yeah, Christina, mom life. Yes. I am totally like, these kids have to go to sleep without me. We have 2 Salem events this year. And I'm like, I do not want to be driving back and forth from where my kids are to where the house is at the event, just to put them to bed. They need to go to bed. Anyway, so yeah. First quarter can be external, it can be internal. And again, like I said at the beginning, really do what works for you, like what feels good for you. If you feel like, no, my internal stuff is on point and I'm ready to take external action, then do that. If you feel like your internal stuff needs a lot of work because you can't get to the external, then do that. All right, let's get back to our screen sharing here, and we're going to talk about the full moon. So now, like I said, this whole 2 weeks, this waxing portion of the moon cycle, I've talked about how you're feeling, like really absorbing this. So we get to the full moon. The full moon is kind of a paradox because we hear a lot, and you'll see on social media, about full moon releasing. But the full moon is very bright and it's illuminating the sky, right? It's shining light on something. And whenever we're shining light on something, it needs to be seen. And we also, while we release at the full moon, so if we're looking at this sort of cycle of life, right? We release at the full moon, but then we certainly don't stop. Like there is now something to do. There is, whether it's an animal or a person, or like the earth has birthed up a flower, whenever something appears, there's something that needs to be done, something that needs to be tended to. There's more work to be done. So at this period, at the full moon, we can look back at how we felt about this intention. And maybe you came up against a lot of resistance and you were like, I am so resistant to eating healthy. I am so resistant to going for a walk every day. I am so resistant to asking for a raise. But that was your intention, to feel confident to do this, or I feel comfortable in my skin, confident at work. I feel comfortable with my bank account. And you're like, none of that is happening because I just can't muster up the gumption to do these things. So at the full moon, what we can do here is we can sort of birth this resistance out to the full moon. Shine a light on it and say, all right, so far, my action has not really implemented. And, I'm kind of stuck. And so what we can do is at the full moon, put the light on that, see it, release it at the full moon, be like, I release this resistance. I release my feeling of unworthiness. I release this block I have around this thing, but I manifest in, like, what do you need to manifest in to get away from that? Do you need to manifest in an accountability partner? Do you need to manifest in somebody to help you write your resume because you just aren't doing it? Do you need to manifest in like a nutritionist? What do you need to do? So we are releasing the thing that's not serving us, but we're manifesting the thing that's going to help us feel the way we want to feel next time. And then if you're like, no, man, this has been great. I feel so much healthier. Like I did the thing every day. It's going really amazing. Then we can release old stories around it. We can release that and say, hey, you know what? Remember that time when I didn't feel healthy in my skin? I am feeling so much healthier in my skin. I release that story that I don't feel good in my body. I release the story that I'm not confident enough because I did this, and I manifest more of that confidence, or I manifest like, what's the next thing? So at the full moon, while the moon is fully illuminated, totally bright and shining a light on you and what's happening in your world, we want to do a little more than just release, because it's a very active time and we want to use that action. So when we're releasing something under the full moon, we also want to be taking action on what's next. Like, what do I need to do next time? What can I do this time? What am I being shown here under this very powerful energy? So here I move forward by, and I release. This is what's on the printable in your email. So I move forward by X, Y, and Z. Like I'm manifesting these things. It's how I'm moving forward. And I'm releasing this, either an old story, or I'm releasing maybe expectation. I'm releasing this like strict outcome that I was hoping to get, and I'm moving forward by doing this thing. So that's our full moon. It's like I said, it's kind of a paradox sort of situation. And we see so often that this idea of just releasing at a full moon. And I think that is really a missed opportunity, because it's shining bright in the sky, and like, we can go outside and see under a full moon. And so why would we not see what's there for us to be seen and bring more stuff in under that energy of the full moon? So we've had 2 weeks of growing. We're at our fullness where we're both releasing something, but also like, now we have this thing I've released. What do I do next? So Rebecca says, strip away the negative and replace it with a positive. Exactly. And whenever, like, if you are an energy worker or an energy healer, or you get energy work done, whenever we remove negative energy from our system, from anywhere, we have like a pocket. Think about anytime you remove something, it's just empty space then, right? And if you don't fill that space with something intentionally, it's going to be filled with other stuff. And this happens in our physical world too. Like if you declutter a kitchen counter, if you don't like intentionally keep that space clear from clutter, or like put like a cutting board and a candle, like, I don't know, like make it, what happens? It gets filled with clutter again. Like you have to intentionally keep it clear. And it's the same here. Like when we're releasing the negative, we need to intentionally fill it with the positive. So if we're just releasing at the full moon, but we're not using that energy to bring something else in, it's just left for more clutter to fill. And if your kitchen counters or anything like mine, you know what I'm talking about. So let's see here. Trisha's saying, the printable got sent to anybody signed up for Magic Week. So if you signed up for Magic Week, you got the printable. You can still sign up. I'll post the link later on, or you should have the link. If you're on our email list, you have the link in this week's Magic Mail. And then I will send like all the recap printables and stuff later on too. So you'll still get it. So check your email for the Magic Mail email from Sunday, and you'll have the link to sign up. All right, so let me get back to here. So we've gone through half the lunar cycle. We have half still to go through. This is our waning half of the lunar cycle. And those of you on Facebook, hopefully tomorrow, our tech works the way it's supposed to, and you guys can see the slides I'm sharing too, which really just are the printable going through. So after our full moon, we move to the disseminating moon, which is basically a waning gibbous moon. Just a fancy way of saying that. How smart do I sound? Just kidding. Okay, so we have our disseminating moon, which is the waning gibbous. It's still very full. And again, these phases last about 3, maybe 4 days. There's no real science to it. And here we practice gratitude. So what can happen at a full moon? You'll see like so much, oh, this powerful full moon, the energies, it's draining like this and that and whatever. But it's really powerful because we have those two things happening where we're both releasing and receiving all this energy at the same time. And so it can be really great to just take a passive step back and let this be a passive phase for you and practice gratitude. What are you grateful for? If your intentions are going swimmingly and you're rocking it and everything's coming into being, practice gratitude for that. Share that you're grateful for that. If things are not going like you had planned, if you're like, my intention was not the right one, like my intention was to stop eat, like sometimes this is a goal, not an intention, but people will set an intention like, I'm not going to eat carbs this whole lunar cycle, right? And then you're like, end up eating cake like every day or like bread at every meal, well, firstly, that's a goal, not an intention, but also we can practice gratitude for realizing like, all right, I realize that's not the right thing for me. I need to change it up. I need to do something else. I need to baby step that out a little bit more. And you can practice gratitude for that because you learned a lesson and you know something about yourself. And when we accept these lessons, that's when we see progress in our lives. And that's how we can use the moon to help us progress in life instead of getting stuck. When we just focus on like, I effing failed again. I'm the worst. I'm never going to be able to do this. I suck so bad. Like, no, we all fail at things and we all feel like that. Like, oh, I suck so bad. I didn't do this. But we practice gratitude for that. You're like, you know what? I learned that is not the way I work. I learned that was not the best for me. I learned that I need to have a carb clean out of my house because I simply cannot not eat bread when everybody else at the dinner table is eating bread. It's not going to happen. So we learn things, right? And we practice gratitude for that at a disseminating moon. And we can say, I am grateful for, and we should do this every day anyway, but this is just a really great time to pause and say, you know what? This is what I learned over the last 2 weeks of growing an intention. Either my intention did not grow, a different intention grew, because we always have intentions growing. So perhaps your energy was focused somewhere else. Perhaps your energy was focused on, like maybe your intention was to feel healthier in your body. And so that looked like doing a variety of different things. But maybe this also happened to be this like around the time that you maybe, I think about kids because I have kids. So maybe this is the time when your kid was like trying out for a sports team or something. So like your energy was actually really focused on the intention of them feeling successful in their life. And maybe they were. And so a different intention came into being because that's where your energy was. And so we can practice gratitude and reflect back. What exactly happened in my life these last 2 weeks? Like what happened? And be grateful for all these things. Like maybe there seemed like a lot of chaos, but also maybe you had running water and your house didn't leak and like you had food in the fridge, and we're going to be grateful for those things. So look back, what can I be grateful here for? What can I be grateful for here? I think I said that backwards. So after our disseminating moon, we have our third quarter moon, which is again, we're now on the other half of the moon. The other half is visible. Well, as opposed to the first quarter moon, we're back to a half of the moon in the sky. And this is where we move back into sort of an action time. So the waxing half of the lunar cycle, the growing, that is the action phase. Within that action phase, we have these passive times. And now we are in the waning half, the last 2 weeks, which is a passive time, but we have passive and active times within here. So when we are experiencing this active time, the third quarter moon, in a passive phase, it's like a chill action, if that makes sense. We're like actively focused on something, but it's in this like sort of calming, releasing way. And so at a third quarter moon, we focus on abundance. So we had gratitude. We had this big, powerful energy of the full moon. Now, what were we grateful for over this last 2 weeks? And now we're like, all right, so I'm so grateful for these things. And what am I abundant in my life? If we remember, the first quarter moon is taking action. So what we take action on is what we are abundant in, what we're focused on. If we're focused on and this is like really law of attraction sort of stuff. And believe me, I get it. I used to have like tons and tons of credit card debt, and like I had gained a bunch of weight, none of my clothes fit. I've had anxiety and like marital problems. And believe me, like I get the bad times. Like I get it when someone's like, focus on abundance and gratitude. And you're like, you don't know my life. It's very hard. So I get it. But this is the time to be like, okay, I'm grateful for these lessons. And what did I put action in on that first quarter? And how has that returned abundance to me? Like, was I putting all of my action and focus into like being like pissed at someone, or was I putting this action into trying to like better myself in some way? And so here we're seeing, what am I abundant in? And try to find those good things, those positive things that we are abundant in, and then give back. So take the action of giving back during this time period. So when I talk about giving back, this can be giving back to other people, community. It can be giving back to the earth. Like it can simply be putting your hands on the earth and giving back energy. It can be giving back. It can be giving back to yourself, but we want to give back in a way that's meaningful. So if your intention was to feel really confident about your finances, and you maybe you didn't do anything really about that, and so now you're like, oh, okay, it went hard, I'm going to reward myself, or I'm going to feel better by buying myself something here at the third quarter moon, and I'm going to give back to myself in this way. That's not a beneficial way of giving back to yourself, right? Like maybe you'd want to give back by helping somebody else clear clutter in their house, which might help motivate you to clear it in your house, right? So we want to give back in a way that's meaningful and make sure we're not sort of tricking ourselves into giving back in a way that's not super meaningful. And that's the third quarter moon. Finally, we round out the lunar cycle with the balsamic moon, which is the waning crescent moon. So when we are just a little bit of moon in the sky again. And here, this is a passive time. It's a passive phase in a passive cycle, in the passive half of the cycle. And we reflect on everything that came to being. Just like, what did I learn? How did I feel? How did all of this play out in my life? What do I need to do for the next lunar cycle? And rest here. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean if you're trying to sell your house that you just sit this one out if somebody wants to see your house. No, you still take action if the opportunity arises, but you sort of emotionally rest. You internally rest. Allow yourself some space to stop really like stewing and analyzing and just sort of be like, did this work? Did it not work? How did that feel? How do I want to feel next lunar cycle? And just let it all marinate and kind of see what comes up as you prepare for a next lunar cycle. So when we hop from thing to thing to thing, that's when we get burnt out and exhausted and like nothing is amazing. But when we take time to reflect and rest, that's when we see real progress in our lives. So let me get back over here to our class on Crowdcast, and I will look at, now I'm going to go through comments and questions. So I'll just start, there's just a couple on Facebook, so I'll look at these. Rebecca is asking difference between a goal and intention. So I did talk about this a little bit in the beginning. A goal is very solar based. It has like a number attached to it, usually a clear indicator that it's been achieved, where intentions are sort of how you want to feel related to goals, and they're smaller chunks. So Stephanie says, it truly does turn your life around. Keep moving toward the positive. Also takes work and doesn't happen magically overnight. Exactly. Let's see here. And Stephanie's been seeing lots of patterns and relationships and things. Awesome. Hey, Nick. Nick's over here in the Facebook comments. He is our astrologer. So he teaches our expedition astrology class along with Anna. I like to say I sing backup in the astrology class. That's their zone of genius. Let's see here. So just getting back to the comments over here. Oh, I don't think there were any questions. So Tamala says, I consider me working in home healthcare giving back. Totally, yeah. Your job can totally be giving back. So that is the lunar, that's working with the moon in a nutshell. And yeah, so we are coming up on a new moon next Friday, I believe. And it's totally a perfect time to like jump into this head first. You've got basically like, what's today? Wednesday. You got like a week, and you can sort of prepare yourself for how you want to work with the lunar cycle. If you haven't before, or maybe you have and you're like, I'm getting some renewed energy around this, I'm really excited, and give it a try. So let's see here. Book recommendations. There are so many books on working with the moon. So many. If you just even go on like Amazon, you'll find tons of them. You will find like a little bit of different information. And what I find is kind of like the perspective you want. So you'll find a lot of books that focus on that more astrological aspect, where the new moon is intention setting. If you want something that talks about the dark moon phase, you'd probably, like Paula mentioned, that the Llewellyn Almanac, which is Almanac, talks about that. The dark moon phase you will find in not as many, and I can't even think. I know like the Llewellyn Almanac mentions it, but I can't off the top of my head think of a book that like specifically. I mean there are some, I just can't think of one. So I'm the worst at answering book questions because I've been doing this for so long that I haven't referenced a book in ages. So I can't ever think of one on the fly. If you're in our Facebook group, if you're a Facebook person, you can search like books in our group, and there's tons of threads where people have asked for book recommendations, and there's actually a file in the file section of book recommendations too. And you can check there and see if anybody has one. Oh, I got stuff popping up that's not allowing me to see my question box. Okay, there it is. Let's see. Oh, and that was that book question. Okay, so I got that. Where it says, so if next Friday is the new moon, then coming up is the rest and reflection periods. Yeah, so we're in the waning half of the cycle right now. And you've got about another, little over a week of this sort of rest period. So if it can feel really overwhelming to follow this lunar cycle schedule and be like, okay, what phase are we in? And so many people in the past that have been in any of our classes and learned about the moon have been like, Sarah, this is too much. This is crazy. And I can't keep up. And then if you throw in the moon signs, if you're like, all right, it's a new moon in this, it's a first quarter moon in this sign, and it can be very overwhelming. And as a person who does do lunar tracking, and I like to say I live a daily, everyday magic life, we incorporate magic in our house all the time in different ways. And I will say that it's easier to digest when we just look at these periods of time. So I sort of look at the first 2 weeks of a moon phase, like new moon to full moon, and like, all right, this is action, like we're feeling, we're visualizing, whatever. And then if life allows, I sort of break it down smaller. If life doesn't allow, I just know that in these 2 weeks, it's growing. We're growing things around here. We're growing intentions. And then the last 2 weeks, and I know that I'm very crabby at that new moon. So as in about a week from now, I'm going to be a crank pants. And so these 2 weeks, I know it's like, okay, this is a more chill time. So if I'm not feeling particularly motivated, I don't push it. Like I don't push myself, to do things if they're not feeling right. I'm not like, I allow that space to breathe. And that's just kind of how I look at it. Like these 2 more. Oh, Paul's asking if anyone's called down the moon before. It's so amazing. Yeah, we did that in our last full moon gathering in our Enchanted journey. We did a calling down the moon. And because it was this full moon was in 0 degrees Libra, and it was also at the equinox, and it was also at right when we moved from Pisces into Aries. So there was so much balance energy. Now this is crazy and has nothing to do with the lunar phases. But this last week with the full moon, it was right when we had the equinox, and the moon was 0 degrees Libra, which is the sign of balance. And we had moved from the very feminine sign of Pisces into the very masculine sign of Aries, which is the end of the zodiac and the beginning. And so there's all this balance stuff. So we did a calling down the moon in our full moon chat, which was really, really fun. So Reyes is I'm beyond exhausted though, so that could be possibly, yeah, it can be so overwhelming. So I look at it as I like to just really in my daily life, I'm looking at these 2 week time periods, like 2 weeks of growing, 2 weeks of feeling, and 2 weeks of resting and reflecting. And we're in that rest reflect period right now. So let's see here. Stephanie, calling down the moon. It's an exercise. You do this. There's a lot of ways to do it. There's not one way, but you can basically you call down the energy of the moon, and it's pretty cool. Like bring it into you. So Rebecca's opposite, energize and get so much accomplished during the new moon and feel grumpy during the full. Yeah. No, I'm a grumpster at the new moon. I think I'm a very active person, and if you are an astrology person watching, I have a Sagittarius stellium, which is just like lots of fire, and I like to do things, and I like to be out there getting stuff done. And I think that but I'm also a Cancer rising, which is very watery and emotional. And so I think that the new moon, it just like highlights this other part of me, that like Cancer part of me, when like the rest of my life wants to be all this stuff. And I think it just like wears on my soul or something. At the new moon, I just crash. I'm like, I go to bed early. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, Lord help the person who asks me for something that I think they should already know themselves. So I'm like bound to like jump out at that. So anyway, but lunar tracking really is what helped me see that pattern, in myself. So, and then learning astrology helped also. And then working with the moon phases helped as well. And Amanda is not a full moon person. I love the full moon. Love it. Stephanie, a Gemini rising, and my sign is Aquarius. So okay, well, that's a whole other talk. Stephanie, if you head to our YouTube channel, you guys can find a whole video series all about astrology. And also there's 3 longer videos like this on there talking about sun signs, moon signs, and rising signs. And Nick, who's in the comments on Facebook, he's our astrologer. He's in our Facebook groups too. So let's see here. Oh, and he's also a Gemini rising in Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius moon. Yeah, Nick says phases of the moon rule the whole way you move through the world. Yes. You have like a fire tree. Yeah, the phases of the moon. And then you can also get like really awesome and look at the phase of the moon, what phase the moon was in when you were born. Mind blown, and see like what energy you were born under, which is pretty cool, and a whole other topic for discussion, which we're not going to do today because it's been an hour. And because I got those 2 little kids that are probably waiting for me. So tomorrow we're talking about the chakras, which Nick, that's not your expertise, but if Nick's around, maybe he'll come say hi during that video. I don't know what he's doing tomorrow. And then Friday, I might change up our schedule a little bit because Anna's available on Friday. And so I might haul Anna in. I think we were going to do super simple everyday magic Friday, but we might switch it up a little bit and have Anna come talk to us with a little bit of her. Anna is like a walking, talking mythological encyclopedia. So we talk a lot about storytelling, myth, and deity. And so she might come talk to us a little bit. Let's see here. Rebecca, if you want to have your chart done, check out Nick does that. Angela, how do you suggest someone stay positive when so much negative happens in their life? I try hard to stay positive. It's hard. So we talk about this, and I've talked about this like a lot. And it's one of the things I love to do here at Sisters Enchanted is really be real and not put up some kind of front like we have it all figured out. Like I said earlier, it's hard. Like I've been there. I have 2 small kids. I run a business. I have a husband who, if you're into astrology, our rising signs are opposite. So we view the world in a completely opposite way. My daughter struggles with social emotional deficits, and that can be extremely taxing. So I do, and Angela, I get it. It's hard, and no one's perfect. So I think that the biggest thing when you have negative circumstances and you're trying really hard to stay in the positive is to allow yourself to feel the negative thing and then be like, all right, it's been felt, and try to jump off of it, But when we feel bad then about feeling negative, that does us no favors. And I know so many people, and when we hear like law of attraction and these people that are like teaching us, like you have to stay in this high vibration, and it can be really overwhelming. And I've had people say to me like, that I've actually had someone in the spiritual community like say to me that I'm bringing in negativity like in my home life because I'm like not, because I wasn't like making it go away. And I was like, this is like also the real world. Like I have a husband and I have kids and I can't just like boot them out. It's like they're my life, you know? And I think that allowing yourself to pause and be like, self, this is very tiresome. I feel very negative about this. I don't know what to do right now, because a lot of times we waffle through life and we don't know what to do. Every day something happens and I'm like, I have no idea what to do right now. I'm just human trying to figure it out, you know? But honor that feeling and then take some deep breaths and try to be like, okay, so that was really crappy and I'm really unhappy about this and that this feels really bad, but like, you know, what can I do about it? Because you can really, at the end of the day, only control yourself. You can't control other people. So if we work on being like, all right, I can control my reaction to this. I can control my attachment to this. I can control my fixation on this, and then move forward from there. But it's you know, it's a work in progress. So I think the biggest thing though is not feeling bad about feeling bad, because that's, you know, that's not helpful. So don't feel bad about feeling bad. It's like the one thing that bugs me the most about law of attraction talk and like manifestation talk is that when people are like, you know, your vibe attracts whatever, and like, yeah, it does. I get that. I totally get it. And I would agree, you know, if you're like focused on being poor, you're going to stay poor probably. I like to say the time spent being poor, you could spend the time, you know, working another job and like getting more money and then not be poor. But also life happens. So, and Angela says, I suffer from bipolar disorder. Yeah, you know, and I get like, I was on for like 10 years ago or so, there was a time period where I was really had a hard time, and I was on an antidepressant and it really helped me, you know, during that time. So there is a time when it just is what it is. And like I said, my daughter has social emotional deficits that she will just always have. And so, you know, like I said, I'm just saying, so, you know, it's just, there's not always a great answer. I think it's just not feeling negative about feeling negative, because that's not going to help you at all. So Rhonda says, yes, honor the feelings is real and get some light on it. Yeah, and surround yourself with people that help you out. So if you have bipolar disorder, you know, surrounding yourself with people that understand that and can help you through that and be on your side, I think is helpful. So Chelsea says, thank you for sharing and being open. So glad I turned. Yay! That's what I love here, you know, with us. I will definitely not sit here and tell you that everything is easy, because life is not easy. And people that nothing I can't stand more than spiritual people telling people about how you're attracting your negative stuff. Because like I said, to some degree, you know, like I get it and I do agree on some level, but on other levels, we are humans, and there's like, I think it's really unfair to just tell somebody that you're attracting all your negative stuff. Like, you're also a human and you're like, have all this human stuff happening. You know, it's craziness. Amanda says, yes. And I feel like it's harmful to tell yourself your feelings aren't valuable or real. Yeah, so true. Yes. Rebecca says, when I feel negative, I ask myself, what is the opportunity in this? Yes. And Rhonda says, thank you for that, Sarah. No light washing. Yeah, we're not light washing here. Not at all. So, you know, the more you hang around, the more you'll hear my life stories. I'm a sharer, sometimes to a fault, because then everyone like gives me advice and I'm like, okay, whoa, wait. I like advice, but I also have to live my own life. So, and Paula is commiserating with Angela. She also has bipolar disorder, totally different from stress, anxiety, because it's chemical imbalance, which requires meds. Yes, 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 yes. So, you know, that's another one of those things. You got to just meet yourself where you are. Stephanie says, a lot of negative things are just learning opportunities. Yeah. And Angela says, also, I'm an empath, so I feel everything and everyone around me. Yeah, and you know what? People that are empaths actually are prone to things, have chemical different. Empaths, you can actually, there's been studies done, an empath's brain is completely different than a non-empath's brain. So also know that it's your, you know, your thing. So just, again, you know, feel your feels. So Christina says, life isn't fair. It's important to see the light in everyone, every situation. Need to see the hard situations as learning experience and grow from it. Yeah, Christina and I are friends in real life. And sometimes we had, not too long ago, this conversation about like, our kids. And Christina was like, how do you do it when they're driving you insane? And I was like, I'm no different than you. I don't do it. They drive me insane. I just try not to yell at them as much as I can. So Jesse says, one of my sons has social anxiety and noise anxiety. He wore headphones in public. He's adapted well, but it does get easier. It's hard while they're younger. Yeah, my daughter was just diagnosed with Asperger's, which I figure I used to work with kids who my job before this was working with kids who learn differently, and mostly kids with Asperger's and OCD and oppositional defiant disorder and anxiety, and all of these different things. So I actually thought she had it before she was diagnosed, and but nobody would listen. Well, I told my sister and my mom, and that was it. But my husband and I were very at odds over her and her behavior. And so just recently, so yeah, no. And that's a hard, that's hard. Like, it doesn't make me feel good, but you just gotta just keep on keeping on. And Jessica says, Angela, you can protect yourself with energy work with chakras. Yes, and we're going to talk about chakras this week. So yeah, and Christina said your daughter's amazing and you guys are amazing parents. You got this. Yeah, Christina's met Scarlett in real life. So Scarlett's another being. A lot of you have met her. She was at our Salem retreat last time. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for sharing your stories and listening to mine. And so I will see you tomorrow our time is different tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And we are talking about the chakras, which is a perfect piggyback on this. And you can check out the replay if you're here on Crowdcast, right at this link. If you're on Facebook, it's up here also. Very cool. All right, you guys, have a great day ahead. And if you're not on the email list and you missed the printable, check out the Magic Mail link from this week and you can sign up there and then you'll get all the recap printables too. All right. Bye, guys.